Welcome back to Scotomaville. And what an absolutely fabulous episode this is going to be. I'm so excited. We're finally going to get a dream we've been working on a long time. There is nothing like a good little journey with a purpose to expose places in your character where you can grow. We're getting ready for an expedition. We've ordered stuff from Amazon. We're packing things. It's all going in the truck. We are excited. It has finally come time after 4 prior attempts. This will be number 5 to purchase our own Airstream. It's in Albuquerque. It's the only one in the United States. It was built the week of the shutdown. It's exactly what we want for the price we can afford. Our banker assures us that, in fact, 4 of our bankers, our scores are good, our financing is set, and we are off to Albuquerque. It's exciting. And I'm also wondering, why is it going so smoothly? Because I've been on a few expeditions before. Angelina is taking video of butterflies flying overhead. We're in Baker City, Oregon, in the northeast corner, headed to Albuquerque, New Mexico. And we're on our first lunch break, and we have butterflies. And in my 2005 Trans Am, I had Glenn Douglas in Fargo, North Dakota, tell me all about the butterflies, so it's a good omen for you. I flew to Seattle. I spent some time with my son. I started pedaling from Bellingham up over the Cascade Mountains, and somewhere in the middle of Idaho, butterflies would fly with me. No, not just cross my path. They would actually come out and fly alongside of me in one of 4 quadrants. That was part of strange, because they flew just out of reach, right in those 4 sectors. And I thought, this is really weird. So I continued across Montana. And in Montana, at least a couple of times, sheriff, police, and other law enforcement had said to me, you know, you be a little careful where you're staying and where you're at, because there's some tensions going on amongst the tribes on your route. And we've got a couple of missing cyclists, and we just don't want you to fall into any trouble. So you watch yourself. You take care that you're under a light in a safe place when you camp at night. Weather front had just gone through, and it was cold that morning and wet. And so I went to, in Fargo, North Dakota, I went to a McDonald's. And as I went in, I looked around. It was full of senior citizens. I mean, there was no place to sit except at a table with an Indian. And you remember I was supposed to keep but I was like, well, okay, there's plenty of witnesses. It's broad daylight. Come on, Daniel. I got my meal being delivered to me at the counter, and I heard this, hey, I need to talk to you. And I was like, oh, people are looking at me. I turn around, and it's a gentleman sitting at the table, pointing at me. I need to talk to you, he said. So I thought, well, okay, this is interesting. I went and sat down at the table, and we started eating a meal. And I go, why do you have to, wait a minute, what's all that stuff? I'm looking at all this. It looks like a Walmart greeter. It's got a hat on, it's got a shirt, it's got all kinds of pins and medallions and ribbons and stuff. And I go, wait a minute, you're not a Walmart. Those are all battle medallions and all campaigns. And I was like, who are you? And he says, I'm Glenn Douglas. And we dug into the story a little bit. You might know the movie with Nicolas Cage in it called Wind Talkers. And Glenn was one of the original Wind Talkers from the Korean War. He's the oldest living, most decorated Native American Army intelligence officer. It means the guy had some interesting life experiences. So, in the middle of the conversation, I said, why do you have to talk to me? And he laid the paper down, in the newspaper he was reading, and he pointed to a picture of me. Is that you? And I was like, yeah, but is that you? On the opposite side of the paper was his face. Well, here we are. He's reading the newspaper. It's both of us, and I'm standing at the counter, so we get to have a conversation with each other. And he wanted to know what I'm doing. So I shared a little bit. I'm pedaling across America. Angelina had been in a car wreck, and I was trying to get the message out. And
on the same day Lance Armstrong rode into Paris for the final time, a cyclist from Seattle rode into the Twin Cities for the first time. Daniel Kamp is traveling cross-country on his bike to raise awareness for women in business. The longtime cyclist got the idea after his wife was injured in a bad car crash. She was an entrepreneur, and he's riding in honor of her.
Through peer support and mentoring, they all sort of network together and share their business ideas and help each other in business, and just incredible things are coming out of it. So we're trying to bring it out of the Texas South area and up across the northern U.S.
Kamp started his journey in Seattle just after Father's Day. He figures if he travels 80 to 100 miles a day, he'll reach the East Coast by the end of August.
I said, oh, Glenn, you're an Indian. And I still remember this. I get goosebumps from this because it was like the most obvious, inappropriate social statement to make out loud, right? You're an Indian. And I said, what's with the butterflies? He goes, oh, butterflies. They know. I'm like, they know? They know what? Your mission. My mission? What? You're changing. And you're helping people. The butterflies are there so you don't quit. And the horses too. And I still get goosebumps. I had not even told Angelina that at that point I had 3 small pelotons run with me, pelotons of horses, that they would see me. And apparently it's not so uncommon. It did it in the Tour de France once, but for me that was quite unusual to be out in the middle of the Dakotas and have horses, running in parallel with you. So obviously the butterflies saved my life. They were there in Native American folklore to protect me. I had later met with Clint Hackney, with one of the tribes up in Spipa. They're a group of Indian tribes up in the Pacific Northwest, and he had shared I think he called it a medicine wheel, and the 4 quadrants and the meaning that they have, and butterflies, etc. And I pretty much sat on that story.
And here we are with a butterfly saying, don't quit. And it's been a long, long journey. What does this mean to us as a couple?
We don't have to rent anybody else's Airstream anymore. We now have our own. For half the price and twice the length.
She's a little more functional. I'm a little more touchy-feely. This is our first home. This is that we've ever purchased. This is the first largest acquisition we've ever made as a couple. It's a commitment to a lifestyle that we like.
Yeah, and it's a set. Hi, I'm Angelina Music, and welcome to Wellness by Choice.
And when you fully commit, or you can't turn back, all sorts of manner of things occur that you never would have expected.
In the most wonderful ways.
People and resources and events.
Here I was on that warrior's path. And by the way, there were no more butterflies from Fargo on. No more protection. You could learn to listen better, Daniel. At the right time, your story would be valuable.
It's a whole new world now, right? You can't do things the way you used to. You have to make a change. You're not just aware, but you actually have to start changing your habits. The old way is over here. Yeah. You have to actually create new habits. Pay attention a lot more than before. So we continue our trip from Salt Lake City to Grand Junction on day 2. And we have the great fortune of following a young man named Dimitri. For nearly the whole day we played tag team with him, going the speed limit from state to state. And Angelina and I see it as great luck or fortune or an omen, because you might remember from the pattern recognizing chapter of volume 1 that we like to believe in things, whether they are true or not. We often find things to affirm, right? Confirm our bias, right? They're scotomas. We find things for confirmation bias. We find things to believe in that affirm our former beliefs with this 20-watt brain that we have. And so when I go to pump gas at the end of that day, holy cow, look exactly at how that came out. Just clicked itself off. You couldn't have done that. What luck is that? Okay. I get on the elevator by myself, and at the last second, as the doors are closing, a man sticks his hand in there, opens the doors, and jumps on the elevator with you. Boy, did I give him a little stare. The problem of being a pattern recognizing being on an expedition is you start seeing virus patterns all over the place, because there are new protocols, things you have to learn. See, being aware means you don't shove your hand in the door to get on the elevator when there's people already on it. So this trip I had to insist that the family of 7 could not ride the elevator with me. My gosh. One of the things you have to do on an expedition for future reference when you look back, and pardon my chewing because I'm eating a cold can of organic lentil soup, and she's chewing on a
Chicken deli salad, and they were supposed to have a microwave and refrigerator in this hotel room.
but
They don't.
fancy room, all sterile, no microwave, no fridge. So come prepared. Now, on my first Trans Am, on the second day, on the western slope of the Cascades, I asked the question, so how far to the grocery store? Of a group of tourists at a ranger station that had come the opposite direction. And they went, oh, geez, it's just down the road. Well, it turned out that night I had water inside of a Corella and spirulina powder for dinner in the cold rain, because the grocery store down the road turned out to be 45 miles and was not open when I got there. So learning to ask better questions and being prepared for the curves in the road, along with learning new habits, that is definitely part of an expedition. So I'm saying this, when you try to become more self-aware, all this stuff's going to come up, right?
That's right. And those that were not self-aware in the elevator this evening?
The family trying to get on with me alone. Let's flip it around. They don't know that I don't have it and give it to their whole family. And I don't know they have it. They're just a family. So you have to be, no, put your hand up, stop. So I was just asking myself how much of this first episode that I should record as far as the experiences for on your behalf, for you could see how the tools start working. And so we're just leaving Grand Junction on our way to Albuquerque, the last day of the trip before picking up awareness. And I've got an old Eagles song stuck in my head. You can hear that? Thank you. So you'll have to use the tools from volume 1 on the whole expedition. It's not like you use the tool and then it's all over with. And we're on this roller coaster of a road. So I'm going to record some of these for you to see that the tools come into play all along the way.
I lived in hotels, tear around the walls.
You have to get the hook out of your head by replacing it with silence. Pay attention to your breathing. Okay, let it all go and go back to being aware and in the present moment. All right? This is Angelina's first visit to awareness. Have you arrived? Are you now aware?
I am aware, deeply aware.
W.H. Murray, concerning all acts of initiative and creation. Until you're committed, you can always pull back. But once you are fully committed, then providence moves. It's not until you're fully committed that things happen. You're constantly being resisted, opposed, challenged, as we are even with this.
Refined, sharpened, educated.
We're learning more than the actual people responsible for approving loans. They don't even know numbers. They don't even understand how credit bureaus lag. You have to fight for what you want. You really do. You can't just wait until it happens. You have to put the initiative, fully commit, and then some things can happen. And we're still working on those things happening, even though we're here.
Yeah, we gotta fight. We have to stay extra to make it happen, but once it's done, it's done. It's like delivering a baby. You're not fully effaced. You still have some...
You know that, guys? You're going to learn to deliver babies.
Yep.
For the record, when you're on an expedition, you rope into each other. You get to experience some of the stumbles of everyone else. And when you're in a partnership, you get to learn together. Just for the record, it's not always one person knows something and so that's it.
No, you both have to. Yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't pick up awareness today.
Thing for an achiever to do: sit around in a hotel room waiting for. And you were just saying this is
really good as far as the administrative work I'm doing for the Airstream and for a number of other things in our business. And it's truly a shift in philosophy that I won't get into right now.
I've been working on the book, doing the layout, and I've been trying to stay out of Angelina's hair. She uploads and negotiates the financing for awareness, and I don't even know what day this is anymore. I think this is 5 days in the hotel. Yeah, we've been in and out, but no exercise. Today, rough emotional day, especially when I'm editing this stuff, because I have to emotionally go through it. So we are going outside, gonna balance some more of this stuff, try to get us back in order. Whoa, okay, I can't do that one-handed.
I don't exactly think that people intentionally lie. But remember the saying that everybody needs something to believe in, even if it's not true? And if they start getting cornered a little bit because they're being found out and that their habits are being known and observed and found, people apparently tend to fill in the gaps with things they've been told that they maybe even believe in that just aren't true. And so you can't take everything that people say as fact. Even if you try to drive across the country because you're pre-qualified to pick up your Airstream. Some people just don't know, and they've told you stories. And that's a hard one, because you can't get up Everest on a bad weather day.